Well, howdy doody, and good Thursday morning to Ice Age TV. Wow, where'd everybody go? The family abandoned me. Wow, everybody's gone, everybody. Hey, good Thursday morning there. You know what? Today's gonna be a windy, cool day, so in some ways I'm overdressed, but yesterday I learned I didn't dress warmly enough, and heck, by the end of the day, I had changed out 3 different times to figure out what made the day work for me because it was warm, but it was cold. So I can fool you at this time of year where you can get fooled. You think, oh yeah, it's just going to be nice and warm, and not so much. So I'm still 3 layers deep up top, only 1 layer deep, and I got my Honda hat on, but it just keeps the head warm. Got my buff on, just keeps you warm. Come on, pups, let's go over the house here. Yeah, the wife's gone. Kid went to the gym. Wife's got to go to work. Back to routine. Hard to believe how many years I've been working. Gail made a comment yesterday. What do you do all day? Do you actually work? I was like, gee, I'm following the government protocol. Come on there, Diesel. Diesel, come on. Okay, in there. No, get back. Come on, Diesel. These guys here. Come on, boy. Come on, nice. Stay there. Come on, get in. All right. Got the protocol here. Here's one of my hats. That's not good. Gee, hey there. You're gonna eat my hat, are you? Oh my gosh. Come on, puppies. Let's get out the door here. Come on, pups. Get on out. Get your little butts out the door here with the trimmed out puppies. Come on, get out there. Get going. Wow. All right, here we are. I mean, winter is over here. Winter, for the most part, is done. In this Northern Virginia, Maryland, D.C. area, it's over. I mean, from this point on, we are in 50s, 40s, even maybe 60s. So the winter's over, and truly, the springtime is here. And as we know, to move the clocks forward, this Sunday morning at 2 a.m. is on the agenda, so your days even get shorter or longer. Definitely longer on the sunlight, but it seems shorter because the day moves so much faster because you got to jump out of bed even earlier, and to get your biological clock back on schedule takes forever. Come on there, puppies. Come on, pups. Yeah, so Gail yesterday reached out. I've had a bunch of my friends. You know, I make videos throughout the day as I'm traveling from places where I work and do things, and I throw in my videos. So a lot of my friends are like, do you ever work? You know, for the most part I do work, and but I don't work at the level I used to work, and I really can't, because I worked basically 7 days a week running on my own company for 20 plus years, and I'm not embellishing that by any means. I've talked about that in many of my videos, how I felt guilty of not working and felt guilty if I took a vacation. And that's a big problem with a lot of people that are very successful. They can't break away from the routine. I have a wife like that. My wife, she is such a dedicated worker. I mean, I'm not lying. She feels guilty in so many ways of breaking away from the routine. And, you know, so she doesn't really the vacation person per se. She just loves to work. Hey, come on, pups. Let's get in over here and get the rambunctious ones upstairs and get you guys fed and get the barn doors closed, so I'm not chasing around the neighborhood and trying to talk my morning video on the things. I mean, really incredible what's going on. But I was thinking to myself today and even yesterday after Gail brought that up, and I was thinking, you know, it's pretty incredible to think that I started working when I was 17 years old, and I really have never ever stopped working. And sure, I've had some slower times and change the direction of my life and career, going back to school and then working part-time instead of full-time, but then going to school. And so that was just for about a year. But overall, I have worked now close to 45 years. 45 years, and I know so many people that put tenure in of 25 years to the military, the police force, the rescue, fire rescue. My dad retired from AT&T after 25 years, like when he was like 51 years old. Retired in so many ways 3 times, but he got a pension from AT&T, and then he retired then he went to work for Sprint, and then he went to work for a telephone company, and another telephone company, And so, but for the most part, my dad, it's hard to believe it. I'm 62 years old. My dad had already retired close to 10 years already prior to me already receiving a pension. And then he moved on to do another career, another position, another company. Because my dad's always been a worker bee. And my dad really worked, up until his 70s, I would say. Not on a full-time, but part-time basis. But it's just like for me, wow, I have so many people I know that have retired and they're getting these nice, lucrative pensions, and now they're on their second career, and they're even making even more money. I know for a fact there's Loudoun County sheriffs in my own backyard, I know on a personal level, that draw about 75 grand pension a year, and they're backing with the county on contracts, making about 100 to 125 grand a year. So they're making now like 200 grand a year being retired and working again as a county employee, but as an independent contractor. This goes on all the time. And so it's just interesting, and the reason I'm bringing this up this morning is because it's all about the Doge that's having an impact on career employees and short-term employees that are being let go. And last week, I was at the battery warehouse getting a new battery for my trailer, which cost me close to $200 for a deep cycle battery. And when I was there, the gentleman, ironically enough, I think the guy's a Ukrainian, believe it or not. He definitely has an accent. And so it's interesting and my daughter noticed that when we left, and that was the day I said F you, Ukraine, on my YouTube channel about Zelensky coming into town and just telling Donald Trump, could be a tramp, right, to pound sand, and he's not going to meet the minerals deal that he had set up for him. But anyways, the whole point is, when I was at that battery warehouse, the gentleman was talking about, he doesn't like Donald Trump. I mean, first of all, he doesn't like what's happening in our country. He just doesn't like him. But he was saying how he had one of his customers come in, CIA, career guy, and he just had been released. He had just been taken out of his job. And the guy is probably in his 50s. And so here's the thing. The channel really has turned the morning conversations more than ever of the politics of our country, because it's the most intriguing times for me in my lifetime to be of age to witness what's going on and to have the understanding of what's going on. So and it just pisses me off because the dogs destroy them. It's just so ridiculous. So they start eating all this crap. It just doesn't end. When you have dogs, they drive you nuts. They'll wear your ass out, everybody. So I should buy that dog bed, but that dog is triple the price. But I've already bought 2 of those, so I'm not that smart, everybody. I should have just bought the bigger, more expensive dog bed so I can't destroy it. Now, we probably don't have any water, because these guys just drink water. Oh, no. Hey, what is going on? What is going on? So see, for Rebel, he's a little crybaby. He just starts crying because of who he is. So he's not injured. He just gets scared and starts crying. So good old Prince, he's telling Rebel, stop it. He's telling Rebel, quit getting into my face. So that was a little lesson for Rebel to do what he does. So so nobody got, per se, injured. That's what Rebel does. And then Prince, he's getting so big. Look at him. He's going to be a big boy. And hey, Rebel, you're pissing people off, buddy, because you go get into their turf. I thought I laid down 4 bulls. 1, 2, 3. There's 4 bulls. Yeah, so it's interesting why Rebel, in some ways, looks thinner than everybody else, but yet he's the guy that constantly goes and maneuvers himself into the food bowls. So anyways, it's so intriguing to me of where we are in our country with this Elon Musk being part of Donald Trump's administration of trying to come in and clean up the government on where all the fiscal responsibility is. And it's just so intriguing for me to watch this. And what's really interesting is I'm the guy that brought up the impoundment. Remember me bringing up the Impoundment Act? Do you remember me talking about that? That 1974 Congress passed a bill that a new president just can't come into the government and start slashing everything and eliminating jobs and eliminating agencies without it being approved by Congress. And I talked about this from the beginning of when I saw Elon Musk come in I said, you guys watch. This won't last. I mean, does anybody remember that? I doubt half the people. Most people don't really watch this whole segment. They'll start listening. Then they just fade out. And I get all that. The channel's not some dynamic, over-the-top channel that draws thousands of viewers. But the point is, I talked about this Impoundment Act that gives Congress authority to overrule Donald Trump, and in so many ways, and overrule Elon Musk. And I said from the get-go, this is going to be so interesting on how Elon Musk presents. He's going to go clean house in the government, but he's not. It's not going to happen, everybody. It's smoke and mirrors of how this is all going to play out. So for me, let me see here. Let me get into my photos here. So I texted myself, because that way, what I'm talking about. So here we are. Congressional Budget and Impoundment Control Act of 1974. This isn't about removal, but relates to executive power over laws. It requires the president to notify Congress of certain actions like deferring or rescinding funds appropriated by Congress, giving Congress oversight. It doesn't directly address removing officials or agencies, but shows Congress asserting control over executive actions tied to legislation. There you go, everybody. End the game for Elon Musk. End the game for Elon Musk. There are now articles being written that Republican senators and congressmen are now telling Elon Musk to report to their office, which he's had to do, and he's got to tame it down. Elon Musk is now having a report to congressmen and senators, and they're telling him, look, my constituents aren't happy at what you're doing. You're going way too fast. You're not giving us government oversight to what you're doing. You're going to have to start being more transparent of all these actions and all these things you're doing. And in the end, we really have to make the decision through Congress, of the voting through Congress, if what you're wanting to cut is actually legal in the bureaucracy that you're now involved. So there it is, buddy. I mean, for me, I truly believe you're going to see Elon Musk slowly just kind of disappear from all this Doge, because I think he's going to start to realize how corrupt it is and how bureaucratic it is, and he's showing everybody what it is. But the reality is, he doesn't have the power to do what he wants. And what's going to happen, they're going to rescind a lot of his stuff he's done. I'll be amazed if you don't start to hear the stories about people being brought back to their jobs, agencies like the USAID that so-called was going to be shut down. The SCOTUS has already rejected they can do that. So SCOTUS is already overruled by Barrett, that one girl judge. That was it, Barrett, that one lady judge who came in under Trump, that was the overriding vote to support U.S. aid, and the $2 billion being on hold has to be released immediately for the help of others throughout the world through U.S. aid programs. So already, Donald Trump is being faced with what he wants to do, he can't do. And Elon Musk, I think he's going to get a really hard taste in the political system, because he's always been the independent guy of creating his own business, and he can run the show he wants to run, and sucking up Buttercup. I really think that the day is going to start to become more and more apparent to him that now he has to go through the bureaucracy, which they'll just drag things out. They'll filibuster these bills. They'll have to draft new legislation. He'll have to get approval from both sides. And then meanwhile, the Democratic Party is going to stall everything as much as possible to only hope and pray this November Wisconsin takes the House and puts it back in their power, and then it's endgame. It's endgame. And so, once again, I talked about this from day one on my channel, that I just can't see Elon Musk pulling off what he says he's going to do, because he's going to have to go through what I just said. So, how much longer does Elon Musk put his efforts in exposing this government and showing people, hey, no, so here we go. Rebel, no. You're being bad. Get away, stop it. Get away. So you know what we do with that? I'll show you how we resolve this problem, which is going to be just a total now destroy this thing. So this thing's probably just going to get thrown away because it's just a waste of time. It's been destroyed. So we'll just have to put this thing somewhere else for the moment. so they can't get to it. That's $20. Or it's not really that expensive at Sam's, but it's $20 thrown away, and it's just another task on my agenda to go to the dump and throw something else away. It doesn't end, does it? Dogs, they destroy everything you have if they can. Yeah, so there you go, everybody. My prediction is now Elon Musk will slowly transition away from all this Doge, because he's going to see that for his efforts, they're not going to pay off. And for us as the taxpayers and us sitting on the sidelines, we're once again going to witness how the corruption wins. Yeah, how the corruption wins. And if somebody says, oh, get out of here, Iceman, like Brett, the one of these guys, always, you're negative, you know. Oh, really? I'm negative? No, I just tell you the way it is. You just don't want to hear it, Brett. So I'm not talking about the Gaming Platinum. It's the other guy that chimes in here and there. And the point is, oh, the corruption won't overrule this? Well, didn't we witness the last term of Donald Trump being rung through the ringer on everything? How the Democratic Party, you know, the Russia gate, then Ukraine, and then, you know, the list goes. I can't even keep track of all the stuff, the devious stuff the Democratic Party did to Donald Trump. So they're just going to ramp it up all again, everybody. And they're going to all collude together. And they're going to raise the money through George Soros to convince the others of how bad this man is. That's going to destroy this country, ruin this economy, and his tariffs, and blah, 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 blah. And the list goes on and on and on. And I think Elon Musk is to realize that now the headwinds are stronger than what he can do. No, don't you dare start eating that. Yeah, I'll smack your butt around. So I just really think the message here this morning from me to everybody else is, I think Elon Musk slowly just kind of disappears, because he's put so much effort into this, but to no avail. To what I think is just going to be rescinded. People will be back in their jobs. And borderline, do they put him in borderline? Do they haul Elon Musk in front of court for his devious acts, for the people have been financially harmed from what he's done to others? I mean, I think it just grows of what is going to start to come out of this, where everything's twisted, just like Al Green and I didn't think this was a State of the Union address. I mean, I'm confused, because even on the title of when Donald Trump was, you know, speaking to the House down there in the Capitol, Congress, all the city members, and it was saying under the speech, it wasn't the State of the Union address. It was something else, and I can't remember the name of it, but so many people reference it to State of the Union address. And Al Green, I mean, you just know it's all a ploy, it's all planned. Somebody in the Democratic Party, you know, told Al Green, hey, you're a man of color, we need to use you because we need to show the disrespect of Donald Trump, that you stand up and you start basically interfering with his speech, and we're going to use you as a tool, because what will end up happening is Mike Johnson will call the House to order, and you won't listen, just keep on rambling and keep on going, and they're going to remove you, but it's going to be awful powerful, because we can take away his speech, and we can focus on Al Green now as being a black man that's discriminated against in our own capital by a white man named Donald Trump. So the narrative turns to Donald Trump's a bad man. He talks about freedom of speech, but here's a black guy that stands up and he just shudders him. But it wasn't him who shuttered him. It was Mike Johnson that removed him from the House after he asked him numerous times to settle and be quiet, be quiet. He knew it wasn't going anywhere. He just knew he'd just start amping up more. So Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, with the gavel, asked for his removal. Trump didn't say that. That was Mike Johnson. But people twist everything in the media to you believe whatever you want to believe by what you want to believe, because if you don't like Donald Trump and you think he's a racist Nazi guy, then you're going to take the immediate position that this is a racist Nazi guy and he hates the other people of color, and he goes out of his way to harm them. I mean, and that's what it plays out in the narrative, going back to the Democratic Party's brain that processes the information that favors everything that goes against Donald Trump. So now what's really interesting to me is Stephen A. Smith, a black, very successful media star for the sports world, and he's very vocal. And I think it's interesting that he is actually taking with what Elon Musk found out the other day. He is running with the Democratic Party having the Stephen A. Smith. Let's see here. He talks about here. Stephen A. Smith says, you see the idiocracy right here. You talk about something, people being tone deaf. Why the hell would 22 Democratic senators be literally echoing the same thing and think that would resonate with American people? Seriously, you don't get it. And then you wonder why you're no longer in power. You wonder why Trump is in the White House. So he's calling out 22 senators that said the exact same thing about prior to the White House or prior to Trump's speech. And you see it's just Cory Booker, you see Elizabeth Warren, you see Tim Kaine, where's Adam Schiff, over there. You see all these, Jeffries, I think, may be in there. You see the same political actors over and over and over again. And they've been all given the directive by somebody higher up. Was that Obama? Means that Obama, coordinate the guy that's just a few houses down the street from the White House? Did he coordinate all this to, get the roundtable discussion that, hey, everybody, we need to do this to attack Donald Trump. We got to get rid of this guy. Got to tarnish this guy, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it won't end, everybody. I said this back when Trump was going to go for re-election. I said, the hate machine's going to come back like never ever seen all over again. Are we really up for this all over again in our country? To have to be put through this media machine that's a 24/7 hate machine of the Democratic Party. And that's all it's going to be. And I said that over and over again, that, in some ways I wish somebody else would run, because I just think it's going to be the constant hate. And if you didn't catch all the hate down in that speech by Donald Trump, where the Democratic Party wouldn't even recognize a cancer survivor, that just tells it all right there how bad the Democratic Party hate this guy, Donald Trump. And they're going to do everything they can to make you hate Donald Trump. But here's what's interesting as well is with all these tariffs going on, and so do you realize that Donald Trump this is from Ludwig. Here's something that's very interesting. Here is an article. Breaking bombshell. This is Alex Jones. Never been a follower of him. I know he's kind of a radical guy, but he's saying this here that Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick drops massive bombshell saying Trump will doing everything he can to stop income tax payments to IRS and replace our tax with tariff payments and external revenue service. Have you heard this? So Donald Trump, have you heard this? This is not the Commerce Secretary that's overseeing monies in our country and legalities and things that go on. Do you believe this? Do you believe that Donald Trump's is going to repeal the federal income tax? Do you know about this? Wow. Would that be pretty cool? If the tariffs played out that favored our country and things worked out, once again, I've said it over and over again, Donald Trump, he's going to play the hand. Even that guy right there, Howard Lutnick, he's even point blank said that Donald Trump's going to negotiate these tariffs. But he's just trying to put the screws on people to try to come to more of a fair trade deal. Because it's always one-sided. So now, as you know, Canada's going nuts, and Justin Trudeau is going nuts about how this new tariff is the worst thing in the world, that now our country is under the worst rule of the world, of times, and that he's a piece of junk, and that he's literally ruining our country now. So Justin Trudeau wants to go out and make our life harder, and they're just, the Canadians are saying how unfair everything is of what Donald Trump is wanting to impose on their country. But do you actually know the tariffs of Canada on us? Do you actually even know that? I doubt you do. Unless you do your research. So let me share something with you. Here is keys on our tariffs. They have a 270% tariff on our milk, 245% tariff on our cheese, 298% on butter, 238 on poultry, 100% fish, tobacco 1% consumed goods, 30% lumber, 20% cars, 25% steel, 25%, I think it says like aluminum. So did you even know that Canada has one of the highest tariffs in our next door neighbor? But yet do they talk about that? What's fair? And that's what Howard Lutnick was saying here the other day. I was watching him, and he was point blank saying it's so incredible how Canada has so many tariffs in our own country, but they now want to start crying the blues that we want to bring tariffs against their products to, and Trump really wants to be more on a level playing field, that, you know, we should be a tit for a tat on tariffs. But Canada doesn't want to hear that. And Canada's presentation, and all the liberals, all the Democrats, are going to convince you that Donald Trump is really the bad guy with Canada. He's the bad guy. He's the problem. And that's our whole problem in today's social media, in today's legacy media, and the Democratic Party. They always twist the way it is so that you, and once again, the Democratic person loves to hear what, in so many ways, as they claim, the lies are. Remember, they all showed up in that Capitol with the little signs: liars, pay your taxes, get rid of Musk. I mean, they were the ones sitting in the assembly, showing their disrespect to what Donald Trump's trying to do for our country. And instead, they just didn't say much besides Al Green, and didn't respond to much of anything. It was actually as if it was just the Deadpool showed up at the Capitol. Borderline. But you know what's incredible? One of the Texas, I think, senators that went to that Capitol, a Democrat, he died from that speech. Wow. I was looking at people in that Capitol, and I was looking at the Democratic Party, and you could just see them fuming. They could just see that they were sick to their stomach. You could see they were getting headaches. You could see they were wanting to vomit from listening to this guy, Donald Trump. And I was thinking to myself, I wonder who drops dead after this speech. And I didn't say that, but I thought, these people are so unhappy. Well, apparently, one of the Democratic, I think, senators, just recently elected, 60 years old or something like that. I think he did have underlying health issues, but the guy, after the Capitol of just the other evening, went home, or went to his hotel or whatever, and he dropped dead. Wow, that's how powerful Donald Trump is. It makes a Democratic person so sick, they become unhealthy. Wow, everybody. Wow. Is it getting heavy or deep? It is. It really is. It's just crazy the times we live in. But for me, I'm not going to talk a lot longer because it just turns into a very long conversation. But I'm just trying to share with you and those on my channel where I so strongly feel that the Elon Musk run is coming to an end. And I think that Elon Musk is starting to see the pain in the wall for all these things he's trying to do. It just isn't going to play out the way he wants, because you're now getting too many people involved for the arguments to go back and forth of what makes sense and what doesn't. And when it comes to the government's efficiency, that word just doesn't really resonate to the government. I mean, you ever heard of government efficiency? I mean, that in itself is just a contradiction to what actually the government does. I mean, Elon Musk is showing how there's hundreds of thousands of software licenses that the government has paid for that have never even been used. They're not even used. So some big defense contractors, some software company, they're billing billions or hundreds of millions of dollars for yet another software design for their computer systems and all these patents and all this other stuff. And the government just pays these companies, these guys, go buy their yacht, and they go buy their $1 million mansions or McMillion, whatever it may be. And yet the government never even uses this stuff that they actually even, So Elon Musk is just exposing so much stuff. I wonder how many cars and trucks that the government has that don't even get used, that the local, car company bid on. But here's something changing something real quick. Very interesting how the new Scout Motors, which is a resurrection of the International Scout, if you kind of know that brand from back in the 60s and 70s, well, Volkswagen bought out that brand, the patent to the name, and they're bringing that product back in 2026, 2027. But they want to do direct sales only. And so, we realize or not, in our country, 16 states do not allow direct sales. Like Tesla's selling a car to you online. You can't do that. The other states have kind of a foggy, you can do it, but you can't do it. And so now, many of these car dealerships are wanting to get the Volkswagen Scout brand and build a nice facility and start selling their product, but Volkswagen doesn't want to give it to them because they want to do direct sales only. But the problem is Volkswagen owns the rights to the Scout product, and so many of the franchise dealers, so many of the dealer associations throughout the country are arguing this is just a Volkswagen product with a different name on it, and they have to give us the rights to start selling this car through our dealership because it's not legal for them to sell it to you directly. It's incredible how the car industry really has. The car industry has, for the most part, salvaged itself over the big box retailers and most businesses throughout the years that never have been really 100% impacted on the big box stores getting killed through Amazon and other online retailers that have undermined their operations. For the most part, the car industry, since it's big into the states with all the attorneys and all the congressmen and senators, and they give so much money back to the states of all the money generated from selling cars that they have a lot of power, and they're going to continue to fight that the consumer has but no choice to go to the car dealership to buy a car. And if you want to buy a car online, you can't do that. And Tesla, if it was one of the first to undermine that and create that opportunity. So there you go. That's all I'm talking about. I'm already at 30 plus minutes. That's it. I want to end at that. But the Impoundment Act is going to impound Elon Musk. So summing it up, I think that when it's all said and done, the Impoundment Act is well stated how they made that name, because I think at the end, Elon Musk will be impounded for what he's trying to accomplish. And I really think that, yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. I think some things are going to play out. Things will, they just took 423 federal offices off the market. They were getting ready to sell 423 offices. Then they slimmed it down to 320. But now they've actually retracted all that. And they're not selling the federal buildings. They're going to reevaluate all that. Because, once again, it has to go through Congress. And I said this from day one, everybody, that Donald Trump can tell everybody everything he's going to do. But the reality is he can't do it, everybody. He can't do it. So, well. And I can be the naysayer and the negative one here, but I think that in all reality, what will really show the facts is as time progresses. It's all about time now. If what really plays out. And so it's going to be interesting times, everybody. So, hey, everybody, hope everybody's a blessed day. God bless and stay safe.